Hello, welcome everybody. I don't know whether anybody's here. Oh dear, comments. I can't see. Say if you're. Say hello in the comments if you are here. Anyway, hello. I've got that. You got me saying that now, Joe. I'm like I can't not get. I can't get it out of my head. All right. So welcome to everybody to this episode of the Plodalong. It's the final episode with our guests. And so we've got today. Actually, first of all, I'll introduce my lovely co-host.
That's me.
Wait, I'm not even going to try. And then today we've got our special guests are Sarah from Your True Shelf, and then the amazing, and then Bob from Bob the Bookerer.
Hello.
It's not saying
it's contagious. Yeah.
So I'll go to the comments. I can see there's somebody here, so I'll highlight you straight away. Hello, SC. And we've got the lovely Zach as well. Hi. And we've got Belle's Books. That's Carly, isn't it? Yes, Carly.
Hi.
Yeah. So how are you all today? Let's start with that. How are you doing on this fine Tuesday evening?
Warm, I think, is
yeah.
is mostly it. I also realised I was debating this because it was quite warm, but I kind of wanted to wear the shirt to match your thumbnail, and then I'm now wondering if this is a mistake because it's actually not that breathable. But we'll see. So there we go.
Yeah, you've got to try and just cope with the heat. It's horrible when it gets all suppressive. So, right. So what? I'll go to my banners. So what have your overall thoughts on the long list / short list / all of it, because we've had some time to percolate. What are your thoughts, guys?
Do you want to go first, Bob?
Can do. Yeah, I mean, without starting on what feels like a negative, overall, I mean, I've enjoyed a few books on this shortlist. I think I don't find it maybe as strong as some previous years, and I've not read a great deal from the long list, but actually from a lot of what I hear from people, there are loads of books on the long list that people loved that didn't seem to make the shortlist. And actually the ones I have read of the long list that aren't on the shortlist, so A Little Trickery, Amma, I loved. And so it's been strange reading parts of the shortlist, and there are ones that I've really enjoyed. But also just sort of generally, it seems like an interesting thing for a lot of people, where something like Nesting, which I've not read yet, but people seem to love. And then it's interesting to see a book that has so much love not be on the shortlist, whereas some books that people found a bit in the middle kind of are. But overall, I think some really interesting voices that have come in. I really love All Fours, even though I think I know it's divisive for people. I really enjoy it, but yeah, I don't know. I will stop talking. Sarah.
That's cool. That's really good to hear. So, Sarah, what are your overall thoughts on it? You can include the non-fiction. I forgot to say.
Yeah, I kind of feel like I've got more excited about the non-fiction both years, maybe, than fiction. I feel that this year is the first year in absolute ages that I just haven't really been feeling the Women's Prize. I don't know if it's just me rather than the list, but I only had 2 of the books. I had Ministry of Time and I had Nesting, and then I was really hoping, well, I'll read those and then they'll make the shortlist, and then neither of them made the shortlist. So I kind of thought, oh, that's a shame. And then the only one I read from the non-fiction was the one, Embers of the Hands, the book about the Vikings. And I was in a minority, but I was kind of disappointed with that book. I felt it read a bit more like a history textbook rather than a sort of narrative that I could really immerse myself into, despite that being like an interest in historical periods of time. So I have this year is the first year where I've kind of concentrated on other things and not specifically the Women's Prize, which is great thing as I'm on the Women's Prize discussion.
Like that though, do you know what? And there might be some other ones that you'll discover that you haven't read yet in the future, because we've still got the whole year till the next year's list is announced for everyone to read the books. So
that's very true.
So,
yeah, and I would like to read Fundamentally. That one I listened to a lot of the audio samples, and that one really jumped out as being a favourite straight away. So I would like to go back and read that.
Lots of the plodders have praised that one. I think that's been like a plodder favourite, the Fundamentally audio.
Yeah.
What did you think of that one, Bob? Fundamentally.
Didn't really like it.
You didn't read it. You didn't read it. Okay, sorry.
And overall, it won me over towards the end.
Okay.
But I think there was something about like in the first 20 pages where I was like, oh God, like I can't do that. I was doing it as a buddy read as well.
Oh no!
And I had this thing of just like, oh gosh, we'd done it on Storygraph where, you know, it kind of, you can hide the comments until you get there. And then I put my comments in for sort of about 50 pages in or something, being really worried, thinking like, oh gosh, what if they love it? And they were like, okay, I'm not getting on with this, whatever. It did win me over, I will say, towards the end. I think the emotional core of the book towards the end is quite nice. I found some of the jokes were a little low hanging for me. It was a bit like joke. It kind of felt a bit like, so some comedy books do this. And I don't think the book fully does this, but some comedy books do it where it feels like, you know, when you go on a date with someone who's convinced that they're really funny, and so it's just like joke, and it's almost always a man, and it's but like there's this kind of like another thing, joke, and you're like, this is exhausting, and that's a little bit what I felt with Fundamentally at the beginning. I think it did win me over. I think there are quite a lot of plot holes and things that don't really make sense, or just like things where just something happens, you're like, oh, okay. But this sounds really harsh. God, I've just come in straight away.
It's very
on a Tuesday. We love it.
Actually, to what Sarah's saying, actually, the non-fiction list, I think, were bangers again. I think that was a really strong shortlist. I've struggled a bit with some of the books from the fiction shortlist, and I think Fundamentally was the one that I just, yeah, I kind of, part of me just wanted to sort of like tweak little bits of it and kind of tighten it, because some of the jokes were funny, but then there was no breathing room for me, personally.
That was a debut, wasn't it? I think
so.
Yeah, I'm fairly certain.
Still a lot of like good stuff in it, and I like the daringness of the topic. I think for me personally, I got a little bit overwhelmed by the jokes.
It was like Chandler, but if he wasn't funny.
Yeah.
Like, I like Chandler. I think Chandler's funny, but not everyone, you know.
It's funny, I was thinking that as well. The constant jokes just made me go, Chandler.
Yeah.
Right.
So he obviously is funny, but yeah.
Yeah, he is funny, but yeah. I'll go. So I'll pop to the comments and say hello. Hi, Jennifer. Hi, Jen. I say Jennifer because I always call you Jen, but it's just when as soon as I saw your channel name. Anyway. Hi, Claire. I've read 5 of the shortlist, enough to realise all the best books this year didn't make it. Oh, my trust in the Women's Prize has been dented this year. But do you know what? We'll get a fresh batch of judges next year. And also, like you said, like we've had loads of happy times with the non-fiction. So, and Claire said that I thought Fundamentally was funny, but humour over substance for me. That's fair enough. So, going to head to my banners. I'm going to ask you for the careless question, which is an underrated book recommendation from a woman. So as Bob, I think, started, so should we say, or no, did you?
Yeah. So Sarah, yeah.
No.
Okay, yeah, sure. So I have this book. Is it showing? It's press showing back to front, isn't it, in the camera?
No, that's right. It's lovely. Yeah.
Okay. Father of the Rain by Lily King. So Lily King wrote Writers and Lovers, which was quite popular a few years ago, and I read it twice, and it's been 5 stars both times. And then this was a 5-star as well. So I've just bought all of her back catalogue because I'm in love with her writing. So this is a book about a girl called Daly who starts off when she's around sort of 7 or 8 years old, and her dad is a functioning alcoholic. So he appears to the community that he's like a good family man, he's got a good job, all of those kind of things. But actually we know that he starts drinking really early in the day, and then he gets progressively more unpleasant to the family when there's no one else around. And her mum leaves quite early and takes Daly, and then the rest of the book is kind of about how her relationship and her dad's is such a huge presence in her life, because she still loves her dad despite how he behaves, and she starts getting all the things she's kind of ever dreamed of, and he's like, oh, but I need you and I want you back home, and because you need to look after me. And then what does she do? Does she like look after her dad? Does she follow her dreams and go off and live her life? So it's kind of a father-daughter relationship book, and with some tricky characters and great writing, and I loved it. So that's my underrated book.
Oh, thank you so much. I do remember you saying that you loved Lily King before. So yeah. That's good. So Bob, what is your underrated book recommendation?
I've not got a physical copy here, but I'm going to sort of
That's how you
vaguely
make
wave 2 other books by Penelope Fitzgerald. So I really adore her writing, Penelope Fitzgerald. I find her really incisive and cutting and witty. And in these books that often feel like the sort of plot is this not really, it is moving along and it's a thing that's happening, but it's something else. There's something else moving around in the background. And The Beginning of Spring, I think for me, is my personal favorite of hers. I've not read these 2 that I'm waving around, but Penelope Fitzgerald, generally The Beginning of Spring, I think is just such a stunning book that just really goes into this family's life as they are in this very strange set of circumstances. I kind of don't want to spoil parts of it. There are these really absurd elements that happen in it that are just so wild and stupid and silly, and I just thought it was so, there's something about the way she writes that feels like she just has such a firm grasp of the foibles of a character, and allows you to find them ridiculous but also completely lovable. And I love when, as much as I love someone like Muriel Spark will cut you down and tell the whole world that this character is a piece of crap, whereas Penelope Fitzgerald has a sort of a lilting thing of, you are allowed to find this person completely irredeemable in almost every way, but there's something charming about them. And I think most of her books, and also I think she started writing quite late. I think her first novel came out when she was in her, I think, late 40s or 50s or something. And so there's something as well of just this beautiful wisdom that she brings, I think, to her characters as well.
Have you read The Bookshop? Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. I
Yeah.
said, have you read The Bookshop? Yeah, that's the only one of hers I've read, and I like the film. I think I watched the film first, and then it said it was a book.
Oh,
so
I've still
I
not seen the film.
It's good, yeah. Bill Nighy, I love Bill Nighy. So.
Oh, fun, right?
Yeah.
Oh wow, I didn't know. Okay, cool. I'll just head to the comments again. So I think I said that. No, I read that one already. Sorry. I listened to the audiobook of Fundamentally and really enjoyed it. However, I think in a physical book, I may have got annoyed by all the jokes, but in audio form, it worked well. I
can imagine that, actually. Yeah, because I think you kind of need the snarky tone of it, and sometimes I couldn't quite tell if the book. I probably would have enjoyed it more in audio. It's fair.
And so Carly said, I quite like Fundamentally. It was a good page turner for me. Yay! That's good. Thank you for that. Have you read any Penelope Fitzgerald or any of the other authors that Sarah or thing was saying?
Me?
Yes. Have you read any Lily King or any Penelope Fitzgerald, Jem?
No, I do have some Lily King on the Kindle. So she's an author I want to try. Penelope Fitzgerald, not sure would be my jam. I really disliked Muriel Sparks, The Prime of Miss Jean Brodie. Really wanted to claw my eyes out. So I think if you're comparing the 2 authors, possibly not my jam.
She's quite different, but yeah, no, that's fair. I'm not sure if I necessarily see Penelope Fitzgerald being for you either, actually. But I just love her. I have a real soft spot for her.
Oh, I like the way you described her, Bob, but I've watched your videos for long enough now to know when you're talking about something that I would like and when you're talking about something that I won't like. So.
I feel like we keep the universe in balance. It's good.
That's fair enough. So now we're going to head to the crispy time. This is Jem's bit that she'll intro. So everyone in the comments.
So obviously food-related questions are essential. So this year we're asking for you to recommend a flavour of crisps that should exist but doesn't.
Oh.
So yeah.
We've had some amazing answers, including coffee.
Disgusting answers.
Coffee?
Yeah,
that feels wrong.
Yuck. I love coffee.
What's left, though?
I know, right?
Do you want me to go first? Because I've got an answer. I hope no one said it already because I haven't been on every single plod. So my number 1 answer is cheese and pickle. Has anyone had that?
Oh,
good shout.
No one
said that.
That's a good one. No, I don't think anyone.
Yeah, cheese and pickle would be my number 1. And then number 2, bit out there, baked beans.
Oh.
Oh, that could
I'm here for
work.
this.
Yeah. Gem's like, no, she wishes I'd stop with cheese and pickle.
She's made a full of face though. So you get 10. You get like a ding 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 for getting
Okay,
into
good.
the
I get 10 points. That's good.
Oh. I mean, baked beans are disgusting on their own, but there's
they're
ketchup flavored crisps, right? Which
Yeah,
is
they're really
basically they're horrid. What are you talking about?
They're nice. I found them the other day, and I hadn't had them since a kid. And we've bought our second multi-pack. They're really nice.
Oh, my, you're the person keeping those in.
Yeah.
keeping them in business. Sarah's keeping
the Worcester sauce, lovely, delish.
Oh, the Worcester sauce ones are good. To be fair,
Right.
Worcester sauce is acceptable, but baked beans, mate, no.
I kind of like that. I kind of like
with
that.
cheese and pickle.
Sorry.
We'll stick with cheese and pickle.
Stick with cheese.
That's
You know, I
such a
haven't
good
had
shout.
pickle in forever. Like, is that a is it a British thing, or is there pickle everywhere? I feel like it's a British thing. Like
Pickles
cheese
in
and
the
pickle
US are like
sandwiches.
gherkins, aren't they? They call them pickles, don't they? So like, I mean, like Branston pickle, just for the international
proper
viewers.
chunky. Yeah.
Kind of thing I'd have at my mum's.
Yeah.
Yeah, I haven't had that in ages. I'm going to buy some pickle this week.
Yeah. Good.
As inspired by Sarah. So, Bob, have you got any?
This is hard. Because I think cheese and pickle, I feel like, has won the day for me already. so essentially, like, it's funny this happening today because I've demolished basically a whole tube's worth of like the mystery flavor Pringles, which I think are basically Worcestershire sauce and something.
Is it just one flavor, or is it like?
I don't know. I mean, the two tubes were both the same, so I think it's.
Okay.
I
thought it was
very
pickled
lucky.
onion.
I've not seen this.
It's something like that. I need some kind of tang to it. Like that's why cheese and pickle I think is sort of dinging every bell for me. Because I essentially, without getting too like in the weeds about this, the way I consume crisps is either like eating them by themselves, or I like them as like a vehicle to like bring dip to my face. And so I kind of want it to have its own like tang. So like I normally like the really strong like balsamic vinegar ones, or the ketchup ones that you get in Canada are like perfection. They're not that tangy, they're just fun. I say fun. What kind of life do I lead? So I want some kind of like really strong like tangy quality to them. So yeah, something that has that feel. So yeah, cheese and pickle sounds kind of great.
You can't steal Sarah's idea.
I know, but I don't have anything else. That's literally it's blown any idea I had out of the water.
You said balsamic crisps,
but they already exist.
Oh, poor Bob. He's not going to go through the crisp dictionary.
I'll have a think as we talk, but probably something along those lines. Someone in the chat's put green pesto crisps, which actually does sound like the dream.
Ooh, that sounds nice.
I would probably, actually, maybe controversial. I would want something else quite strong, like a really garlicky thing. I don't think it would necessarily be just garlic, but I kind of want it to be like a little mini bruschetta, but just terrible for me.
So if you said about the dips, what are your favorite kind of dips then? If you said about the dips, what are your favorite kind of dips?
So like either something like tomatoey, like a little salsa thing, like a hummus thing, or sometimes like this feels like I'm getting way too into this, but like a balsamic glaze, like a little dipping little. I don't know what it is. Something in my body is just like, apparently we need to like kill something in my stomach, and so any kind of really acidic, like tangy thing is kind of the dream.
That's a good answer.
There we go.
Crisps into balsamic glaze.
Well, I've got this. I might just sort of like put little like couple of drops on it, or I might use it to like mop up a plate if I've had like a salady thing that's had some balsamic glaze or whatever. But yeah, that's kind of the vibe. I think. I feel like this has angered Gem less than like my pizza conversation with you last time.
Oh God, yeah. I remember that.
So, sort of veganism plus Gem was a fun combo.
Vegan, though, were you? Like you were.
Yeah, that was always going to be a challenge.
Oh, you're two vegans on the Gem. You've got two vegans on here.
I know, vegans never win.
taking over. We're
feel like there's a
unionising.
disproportionate number of vegans on BookTube to like reality as well. Like
It always gets
Yeah,
surprised people aren't on BookTube. Yeah.
so many. So yeah, you were doomed from the start.
Charlie said, "I've arrived to Bob wanting something garlicky." Summit Games.
I'm just fighting the inner vampire that resides within.
Peak
Oh, Chris.
Southerner.
I feel like Chris is peak Southerner. Oh, he's calling you a peak Southerner now. That's like,
Yeah.
I have no defense. Like, I have family from the north, I have family from Wales, but I'm definitely a southerner. So yeah, I can't win that.
That's fair enough. Well, I think they were some good answers. So thank you very much for offering up those lovely answers. Right, where are we? I've got to. I guess it's the game, isn't it now? If I can find the actual. No, can I find it? I might not. I may have deleted it. If not, I will just put the game on screen. Right. So I think it is time for the higher or lower game. Are you ready, guys? I'll put it on
Ready.
screen. Oh, I'll get rid of your banner so I'm not cutting your face off. In a second. Sorry, Sarah.
Fine.
I'm so sorry about
all that lighting, and then Charlie just puts like a.
It's very too bright.
I know,
The
all
light
that
is too
beautiful.
bright.
Yeah.
I look a little bit orange in this light.
No, you look beautiful.
It's
You look
good.
absolutely stunning.
I've apparently stepped further and further into the shade as we're going on. So by the end of this, it'll just be the little bit that says Bob the Bookerer. That's all that will
That'll be all
visible.
the
It's like reflection off your glasses. That'll be it.
The reflection of my glasses.
So, for those of you watching that don't know, and I'm sure I know you both do know, it's a higher or lower game. We start with a book, and I will put. Here we go. We've got the first book we've got is Whispers Through a Megaphone, and basically the idea is I will put on screen what the story graph rating is, and then we'll put another book on screen, and you've got to guess whether the following book on screen is higher or lower than the book that is currently on screen. So, who is going to go first? I think we should pick on Bob because he is first on he's higher on the thing. Is that okay, Bob?
Sure, I'm going to bomb this game either way. So
don't worry, if you buy it,
may as well get it out of the way. Make the pain sort of.
The Gem has got a name for it. If you get 0 points, so
yeah, if you don't get any, you join the Brian Club because Brian got none. None. There's a few in the Brian Club now.
It's not the worst club.
No, we love Brian.
I'm happy to be in a club with Brian.
Yeah,
that's what everyone says.
I think most people are happy to be in a club with Brian. We love Brian. So the first book, like I said, is Whispers Through a Megaphone by Rachel Elliott, and that has got an average story graph rating of 3.53. The next, so the book it's up against, well, not up against, but the book that is up against it is Nowhere Else on Earth by Josephine Humphreys. Do you think Nowhere Else on Earth has got a higher or lower rating than 3.53? You can guess in the comments.
I'm going to say higher, only because not knowing either of these books, Whispers Through a Megaphone feels like kind of a millennial-ish book, at least by the cover, and those tend to be a bit more divisive. Nowhere Else on Earth looks a bit maybe like it might hit like a good kind of medium thing of like a lot of people being like, yeah, that was nice, or that was good. I know nothing about either of these books, I should say. I'm going to say higher. And
I forgot to mention these are all listed, have all been long listed for the Women's Prize over the time.
Oh,
yes.
Fair.
So you are ding 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 ding.
Yeah.
Right. The first one.
Sorry, Brian. We can have a separate club after this.
I'm sure he would. So sometimes he does watch after, so you never know. I'm sure he'll be happy. Right, so yes, 3.81. You are right. So the next book that it is Poppy's Shakespeare by Claire Allen. Do you think Poppy's Shakespeare is higher or lower than Nowhere Else on Earth? Oh.
Sorry, that's the weirdest cover I've ever seen.
That's what I was thinking.
Yeah.
I've got a dog face.
There's a lot going on.
Yeah, like a dog face.
Weird.
Is she
I didn't
wearing a
look up the
curtain?
Also, it says as seen on Channel 4. Wait, did you see? I don't know that you can read. It says as seen on Channel 4. So this has been on telly, people.
I don't think it's been seen by many people, has it?
I don't know. I just don't know. There might be lots of Channel 4 Poppy Shakespeare's loves. Yeah. Anyway, higher or lower, Bob?
Oh, sorry, it's still me. I thought we were handing this to Sarah. I was like feeling quite confident. Like I can just get to sit back and watch now. So my thinking is that if something's on TV, it generally brings a bigger audience to the book, and sometimes that is more divisive, right? Whereas like if you have just like a set of readers reading a book, it tends to sort of be like a fairly medium sort of score, but as soon as something becomes like quite big, it brings in this was not as good as the TV show, or this was better, you know, a bit more division. I'm going to say lower. I'm kind of kicking myself. I feel like it's really close though. I'm going to say lower.
It is
Yay.
lower.
A lot lower.
Wow, that's bad.
3.17.
I think it was most of the stars were because of that mask. I think that seems to have.
You think that's what people are holding against it?
I think so. I wonder what the show was and how that dog cover
we
is.
have got a comment
relevant.
from Jen that says, "I think I really liked Poppy's Shakespeare." So
the fact that she's not sure doesn't bode well, really, does it? I might have liked it.
And thank you, Zach, for saying about your pickled herring crisps. I won't put the comment on screen because I don't want to block Sarah again. I've just realised I've got to make sure I don't put comments on screen.
Fine.
Yeah. So yeah, you were right, Bob. Well done. And the next one is The Bees by Layleen Paul. Our pod.
Okay. Yeah.
Writer, queen.
I know that's what's kind of making me think, because I know Pod really split the room.
Yeah.
Yes. Split the room beyond 3.17.
Were the Bees? I think this is going to be higher. Only because I don't know. The Pod was so out there and wild, like quite a strong flavour. The Bees, I don't know. I don't know this book, but like I feel like are bees less controversial than like very like horny barnacles?
Sexy clams. Yeah.
Yeah, the sexy clams.
I mean, I don't know what bees do in this book.
Especially because I think I told you, right? I was listening to Pod as an audiobook, and there's nothing weirder than walking like about like doing things around the house and hearing about really horny barnacles. And you're like, I don't think I need this in my life. But like, okay, I'm gonna say The Bees is higher just because I think I don't think I've heard as big divisive opinions about it.
Okay. So you're looking in higher. Okay. You are right.
Hey, okay.
So it's 3.63, which is quite a chunk higher than 3.17. You are right. So the next book is, which I feel like I feel like this name, like I've heard it in my childhood, because this book, the name of this book, and then
every time I've seen this name, I've assumed it's like the Sisterhood of the Traveling Pants. That's all I can.
Oh, maybe. So it's The Divine Secrets of the Yaya Sisterhood by Rebecca Wells. It does sound very familiar, but like you said, it could be that thing that you just said.
I wonder if this has been turned into a film. This looks like it's been turned into a film.
Yeah.
I don't know why. This kind of, I don't know if it's quite feel good. Feel good books tend to like get quite good ratings overall. I'm gonna go higher.
Okay, you're looking in higher.
Yeah. Oh,
but it's gonna go taste.
There we go.
You've got 4 points so far, so you're only one away from a full house. That's right.
Oh, 3.69 is just in the middle there, isn't it? It's one of those awkward enough numbers where, like, bring up or down for God. Okay.
The last book is Burial Rites by Hannah Kent, which I feel like it's a book
still not read this.
People know about.
I've not read it. I've read something else by hers which I loved.
Is that Devotions?
Yeah, I think that was it.
Devotions?
Something like that. I'm going to go higher only because I feel like this is a book where as soon as I mentioned the other Hannah Kent book, people were like, "Oh my God, loved Burial Rites. You've got to go and read it." I'm going to go for higher.
Looking in higher. Yes.
Yeah, there we go.
Hey, full house of Bob. No pressure, Sarah.
That's what I was just thinking.
I'm honestly surprised I made it through the first round. So
You did amazing, Bob, and your rationale was always on point. So you did really, really well.
Yeah, well done.
Okay, so well done, Bob. We're going to head to you, Sarah. And the first book is actually by an author that has been, I think it's on this year's long list. Layla Lalami, Secret Sun by Layla Lalami. Obviously, not the book, but the author. Yes. So, and the average Storygraph rating is 3.44. The book that is up against it is Pleasantville by Attica Locke.
Okay, so I've read, she wrote Bluebird, which I've read and was good. So I'm going to go higher.
Okay, we're looking in higher.
Yes, ding, 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 ding. Higher.
Start, Sarah.
This is really, I would have actually said lower, so I'm really glad that I didn't get this round. I'd be out. I'd just be gone already.
Just like went first. So well done, Sarah. The next book
got
is
1 point.
you got one, yeah, so you're not in the Brian Club. So you know.
So I'm in the minority. I did not like burnt sugar, and everyone else loved burnt sugar.
I did like it either, mate. I'm with you on that one.
Okay.
I DNF'd it.
I wished I DNF'd it.
Bob's crying in the corner.
I loved it. Yeah.
Yeah, I know so many people did. See, I feel that quite a lot of people might read it and not vibe with it because it's quite literary. So I'm going to go lower.
Okay, you're looking in lower. Okay.
Yeah.
Ding, 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 ding.
Ooh, so much lower.
That's a lot
Wow.
lower than I thought it'd be.
Yeah.
3.33. Maybe it's higher on Goodreads. I do not know, but we are doing Storygraph ratings here, so this is what we have. Yes, it is 3.33 on Storygraph. So the book that is up against it, I know the writing's really small. It's Harbour by Lorraine Adams. And I think it was a winner of a prize, which I wish I would have written down what the prize was, but I think it was.
See the word winner. I can't see anything else on that.
I can't remember which prize it was, but sorry. People.
Well, I have absolutely no clue about this book. The cover's pretty bad, but most books would beat 3.33.
Yeah.
So I'm just going with the odds and picking higher.
Are you ready?
No.
Hey.
Oh. Okay, no
I'm
tiebreaker.
intrigued what this book is now.
Okay. So that means you've got yourself 2 points though. So that's still really good. And we shall carry on as if just to see what you what you could have won. Right.
Oh my goodness.
The next
After
book,
before.
yeah, by Gemma Wayne.
I love that cover.
It's kind of cool. Isn't it?
Yeah.
I can't
Well,
remember what it was listed.
It failed me last time, but I'm going to go for the law of averages again, just because 3.2 is a very low score. So I'm going to go higher.
Okay.
Even though that wasn't a good strategy last time. Oh, okay. Fine.
No, I can't do this because you didn't actually get the point, but yeah. Yes, it would have been higher. Yay, well done. So I like this.
Oh, there's another one.
Yes. Yes, we have 6 books each time. It's Ice Road by Gillian Salovo, which I kind of love the look of it. But
So I couldn't work out what that was for us. I didn't realize it was someone wearing a dress. I thought it was like a really angry turkey. Staring at it, being like, "What is that?"
The angry
That is the
turkey.
best.
It's not an angry
If
turkey.
you imagine like the red thing she's holding is like the wattle.
I can't see it.
That's
I can't
amazing.
see an angry
I love
turkey in
that.
that either, mate.
Sort of like a slightly Soviet turkey.
I think it's like something's tied around her face, like a mask.
Yeah, like a blindfold or something.
Yeah, blindfold. That's what I mean.
Yeah. Well, I think
Sorry.
it looks terrible. I'm going to go lower.
Okay. Yes, you would have been right.
Ooh.
The angry turkey book got a low score.
The angry turkey book. Never going to see it as anything else.
People
now.
bought this book expecting a turkey and
They were
were
gutted.
really annoyed when it
Disappointed.
just turned out not to be about turkeys.
I don't think anyone thought that was about turkeys apart from you, Bob. I think
No, it's just, you know, when like your brain can't replace an image in your head.
I just
You're like,
can't
I know
see it.
it's not a weird like Soviet cartoon turkey, but I can't see anything else.
You
Sorry,
can have
Sarah,
your
I've completely taken away from you.
No, I love that. I love that
you
image.
can have your turkey dreams, Bob. You can have your turkey dreams.
Thank you.
I'm just concerned about like your brain, really, Bob. That is
I mean,
where
I
it
am
went.
too, if it helps.
That was amazing. Well done, Bob, and also well done, Sarah, for taking part, because it's the taking part that counts, even though actually Bob is the winner. But
Very good.
So I'm going to head to the comments because I did see some come up. One of my volunteers came to me last week to said that she'd read The Bees and it made her sob.
Ooh,
That's a good thing. Like normally for Jem, it makes her go ting ting ting.
exactly.
Even though you have read one of her books, so you probably won't be as ting 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 about it. So Charlie also said Sandra Bullock and Maggie Smith are in the film apparently.
I think he's talking about the sisterhood.
Oh, the Your Sisterhood. Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
So.
I love Maggie Smith though, so that's made me want to watch it.
And Zach really liked the burial rites. And Bob didn't enter the pork chop lounge. It's a Brian lounge. It's not a pork chop lounge. I know what the reference is. I do understand the reference because it's Drag Race reference, but he did not enter that. It's the Brian lounge. I absolutely see the turkey.
Thank you. I feel really justified.
What?
There's
What
like
is
there's two red bits,
happening?
like the little crown, or what do you call it? The little head bit on a turkey, and the little waffle.
I see. Like that little bit.
Yeah. I thought it was both of those.
Comb. That's what it's called, isn't it? A comb.
Yes, comb.
Oh, is it? Yes.
The wattle
Yeah.
is this bit, isn't it? The wattle is.
I think this is the
bit.
wattle bit. At least it's for chickens, I think. But I'm guessing it's the same for turkeys.
I don't know.
But like,
I
I
don't
feel really
understand
sorry
how
for
we-
whoever made that book cover. I'm insulting their craft.
I don't think they're watching, Bob. I mean, if they are, they can say.
That would be a deep cut for like,
Quite a niche thing, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
And Zach said turkey. I can't even begin to say that. Paradiola. Yeah. And Pam said, I didn't think it was personal until you three were laughing.
Thank you.
I don't understand.
I think I need to read the book now just to kind of exercise that thought out.
Maybe it will open with a turkey and you'll be justified. And you'll be like,
I will feel very justified.
I think you've got enough books to read at the moment, Bob.
I knew there was an angry Soviet turkey in this book.
Right, yes. So from there, I think we shall head to guest questions. So we are flying through the show today, which is amazing. So we are going to head to guest questions, which is the questions that the last guests, which was actually Ben and Andy, and they've got some questions for you guys. So are you ready? Who wants to start? The first question is from Ben. Who wants to answer first? Put your hand up if you want to answer.
I can go. I don't mind. I'll go.
Okay, Sarah's going. Sarah's being brave. Right. Not that Ben has asked anything horrific. I just want to say.
Okay, that's good. I didn't know what to expect.
Oh, good. Okay, so Ben said, if you were to run your own bookshop or bookstore, depending where you live, obviously, what would you call it, and what would its unique thing be? AKA, what's its USP?
Nice, easy question to start with.
You get to have your own bookshop, Sarah, though, so that's like a good thing.
Yeah, okay, so I can just pick a really easy answer and just use my channel name, because it's like I could have that as a bookshop name. I could call it Your True Shelf.
Nice.
Good.
That's nice and easy.
That would be a great bookshop name, actually.
It would be.
Thanks. What kind of books? Well, I guess it would be quite cool to have a link with my job. So books that would help people going through different experiences, going through different problems. It would be good to have like some books that represented different, I don't know, memoirs of different health conditions, or people like, I know self-help gets a bad rap, but I love self-help. I don't always see the same books as everyone else's self-help, not the kind of like really A-list celebrity kind of self-help books, but like there's tons of really great books out there. And there's things like Reading Well, which is like sort of talking for people who have like mental health difficulties and different books that are out there to try and help with things people are going through. So I could have that kind of focus, and then I could tie up my work and my job, and I could, you know, recommend books for patients and stuff like that. So yeah, I've got it all sorted, guys. This is opening next week.
Everyone's on the way to your true shelf.
Please.
And so, Bob, what would your answer be?
I mean, I feel like, again, like with the crisps, I feel like I've been outclassed. Really. I mean, so how I've always seen it, it's not necessarily a unique thing, but I always love where you've got bookshops that are really community spaces as well, right? Where like there are some rooms in the back that you can hire for things. There are like groups who regularly use the room, and it's a space that you can be, kind of like with libraries, it's a space you can be in for free, or for very, very little money. And so I've always been really drawn to bookshops that are like that, and that's kind of the bookshop, whenever I've sort of dreamt of one, that's always the image I have. For some reason, as soon as you asked the question, I had this image of like a really wooden kind of bookshop, but with like a spinning, like not necessarily dance floor, but like a spinning bit in the middle. I don't know what purpose
like
that
a
would
Lazy
serve.
Susan, like
Yeah, but kind of like almost like a kind of dance floor, but not. Like, I have zero idea what purpose this would serve, other than being a bit fun. I feel like it would run contrary. Yeah, I mean, it might run contrary to the whole book thing, like the whole like calm, relaxing bookshop thing, because you suddenly got like a kid like spinning around on it. But like, I kind of just like the idea, shops and spaces being also quite fun and quite having a little bit of silliness to them as well. So I'd quite like that. Probably kept quite far away from the cafe area just to avoid hot drink spillage. But I think I just kind of like that idea of, yeah, like something kind of fun and a bit like offbeat in the bookshop that kind of makes it a fun thing, or maybe sort of like an artistic space as well, where there are just sort of kind of a combined space. That's a bit of everything going on in this bookshop. There's probably too many things, but that's kind of that's what I'd quite like.
Would you also have an angry Soviet turkey, like as the mascot?
What good bookshop doesn't?
Do your logo. You could have it on the sign outside.
Yeah, it would be on the spinning floor. It would just be sort of like panopticon style. It can watch you wherever you are in the shop. In the shop,
now it's starting.
You're always being watched by the angry turkey.
No, that's a bit scary. I'm starting to think that's starting to turn a bit sinister. It's scaring me.
That might be a bit much.
Leave the turkey in the background.
See how to integrate the turkey theme into the, into the. I don't know what I'm saying anymore, but there we go. That's my answer.
You didn't think you'd be saying like spinning Soviet turkeys tonight, did you?
I know.
Everyone expected that.
Yeah, I sort of sometimes come away from sort of doing other people's live streams. I'm like, Bob, never go on one of these again.
No, you're always welcome.
With this sort of like inane ideas.
No, we always have space for you on the Plodalong, Bob. Always.
Thank you.
Do you have an answer? Would you like to have a bookshop, Jem, or do you not wanting a bookshop tonight?
Oh, you never ask me.
No, I never do, but we've got time today, so I can ask you.
I mean, I think like a free bottle of wine with every book would be like my
Sounds very Jem. There is a place in Oxford called Gulp Fiction where you can, depending on if you buy a book. So actually, depending if you buy certain things, so I think it's if you buy some books, you can get like a free tea or a coffee, and some books you can get free wine. That's true.
Yeah, I don't do tea or coffee. Mine would completely be alcohol. Like,
no, I know, but there is wine in there, so yeah, you need to go
tea and coffee allowed. Like, absolutely not. A mocktail at like the most is
right.
What would your bookshop be called? Actually, Bob, did you answer that? What did you say?
I have no idea. I mean, I'm trying to find a turkey-based book pun. I'm not really getting there. But like,
if only Ben was here.
Ben would be great at this. It will come to me. I'm trying to think of some kind of gobble pun. No, it's not there. I'm not finding it, but we'll get there.
Okay, I'm gonna just head to the comments quick. I've got great news for Jem. I gave all fours 1.5, and at a blistering 2.5, Pod blew it out the water. That's good.
That is excellent news, Zach. Excellent news.
because we're like none of us. Well, we didn't particularly love it, obviously.
This is so interesting because I found somebody commented on this on my sort of Women's Prize shortlist roundup, which is that it's interesting that most people who are like sort of women seem to have reacted really badly on the whole to All Fours, and like the people who seem to really love it tend to be men. And I'm like, I don't know what that says in this book that is like very much written about.
Yeah, because someone was saying that they think it's like the expectation of what's been sold to you potentially. I mean, I don't know if that's true or not. I just didn't like it.
Oh, okay. That's interesting.
I don't know. So Camilla said, I definitely visit both of those lovely bookshops.
Yay.
The turkey awaits.
We'll let you know. Yeah, turkey awaits. Oh, well, that is going to scare me for the rest of my life. CCTV is expensive. Turkeys are much cheaper.
I mean, this has got to go down as one of the most bizarre comments to see on a live show.
I think that was actually my favourite comment we've ever had, on the whole of the film. It's expensive. In fact, actually, do you know what? We're going to get a T-shirt. Me and Charlie always say, whenever we say something funny comes out, we say we'll put it on a T-shirt. We're going to put this on a T-shirt.
Where it's the next Plodalong.
Yeah, exactly. There you go. We'll send it over to you, Bob, directly. A bookshop near me opened with the wine bar upstairs, and I have a book club every month where you get a bottle of wine while you chat.
That's fun.
You need to go
whole
there.
Bottle though.
This is what the thing is, though. I did actually set up a book club with my two best mates where we went round to each other's and had wine, but then we just stopped reading the books and just drank the wine. So it just turned into like a monthly piss up instead of a book club.
Which actually,
Yeah.
that's not bad.
I mean, I suppose because like by the end of the bottle of wine, like per person, I can't tell whether those book opinions would suddenly be like the best opinions that have ever been created, or just a mess of just sort of somebody.
The best because you won't remember them in the morning anyway. So
that's true. Just someone very passionately defending. Like I do love a good like a book club chat where someone is like either loves a book so much and will kill someone to prove it, or is just sort of so vehemently against a book that they are sort of at risk of sort of slamming doors and things.
Yeah.
That's the sort of sweet spot. And I feel like wine, maybe, I don't know if that tips it too much in that way.
I think it makes it better.
I want to see you with these things. All right. We do have another guest that asked another question, which was obviously the lovely Andy from Roro Reads. And he said, if you had to pick a genre of fiction from each continent, what are you getting from each continent? So e.g., so are you getting I don't know what he said for the
historical fiction from Africa.
Or like literary fiction from Europe. Are you getting your romance novels from Australia? Where are you getting your horror from? Etc. Etc. Etc.
You have to have one continent that you have all of that genre from.
Oh, that's interesting.
So
yeah.
Glad Bob's going first.
Yeah. Okay. So a couple of things flashed immediately in my head, and some of them feel a bit obvious in some ways, but like, so magical realism from South America.
Yeah. I think that's good.
I think some of the sort of, I don't know if it's necessarily sci-fi. I don't know what it would necessarily be, but there have been a lot of African writers who have done really exciting things with sort of science fiction and folklore. So I'm going to sort of say science fiction for that. I'm thinking of oh god, what's her name? Is it Namwali? Is it Serpenti? No. Yes. Because that I can't remember the name of the book now, but I thought it was so interesting, of sort of like the space race told through, I want to say Zimbabwe. I think I might be getting the country entirely wrong, but yes, that was really fascinating. So hang on, that's okay. There's two continents there. I will say, okay, what does that leave?
Europe, Asia.
I'm going to say horror from Asia.
Yeah,
because I like the Japanese and Korean authors who've done some really interesting, exciting stuff on that. So I'm just mentally drawing out a map in my head.
That's right.
So Australasia, Oceania, whatever the name is around that. I'm going to say historical fiction, because I think only because I think that also allows me to bring in Alexis Wright, who I love and praiseworthy. then what does that leave? So it leaves Europe and North America.
Yeah.
I would say what's kind of left. What do I read? I would say literary. Second, sorry.
I said we can ignore Antarctica because I don't know. You don't have to.
I'd love to see romance from Antarctica. That'd be fun. These kind of like big books of yearning of like, yes, he left 14 days ago. I will say I'm kind of torn because I sort of want to put like literary fiction in there, and like North American literary fiction is pretty fun and interesting. But I am going to lean more towards literary fiction from Europe, just because that's kind of often where my heart is. And I will say for North America, what does that even leave? I will say.
What about your fantasy? Really, you said fantasy, and you did say fantasy.
I've not said fantasy. Oh yeah, maybe fantasy, because that would allow for kind of yeah. Let's go for fantasy for North America, because I feel like that's been quite successful. Yeah.
Good answers.
I'm going to hear all of Sarah's answers now and just be like, no, that's actually Sarah's right.
No, you get good answers. Okay. Oh, this is tricky. Okay, so I'm going to start with romance and go with Oceania. Because Aussie guys, like, yeah. So that's all I have to say about that one. What did you say, Charlie? Sorry.
I said they have lovely voices. I agree.
Yeah. I'm very relaxed. Yeah. Okay. I don't need to go off on a tangent on that one. I'm going to go with, I think for Africa, I would go fantasy, because I think there's some really cool, like, I don't know, like folklore and all that kind of thing that you could bring in as well. I think that would be really interesting. I would say Asia for history, because I just think it's really fascinating, and I really love historical fiction, but it would just be nice to get some Asian historical fiction. That would be pretty cool.
Super broad as well, right? From China, like Iran, and like
yeah, there's loads of things you could dig into, isn't there? What have we got left? Europe. Can we go classics? Should we go classics? Because
that's what I said.
Yeah,
that's a great answer.
Yeah, because there's loads of like classic authors from places which I wouldn't have read before. Like I've never read like classic German fiction or something, but I'm sure there's probably some really good ones out there. So I go classics for there. And then where have I got left? Just North. Have I got North?
North America. Have you said
South America?
South America.
Yeah, North and South America.
And also Bob did say South America. Zach, Bob said about magical realism for South America.
Yeah, I would go. I haven't done contemporary. Oh, this is a tricky one. I mean, I kind of feel like
is Lily King in English or like British?
She's American, I think.
Well, there you go.
Yeah, I'd probably go contemporary, because I know that I really like kind of contemporary American writers. South America, I'm really not sure. Like, what's the guy? What's the guy he did? Love in the Time of Cholera. Who's that? Can't think of the name.
Marquez.
Gabriella,
yeah. So I feel like he does magical realism, doesn't he? And I feel like it's too complicated for my brain. Like, what's the book he has where everyone's called the same name? Like the 100 Years of Solitude.
It's 100 Years of Solitude.
Yeah, and that so I feel like I can't do magical realism in South America, but I can't remember what I'm left with. What am I left with?
You said non-fiction. You did say non-fiction. You said non-fiction.
Non-fiction. I completely forgot non-fiction.
Yeah, let's go non-fiction.
That's good.
We did have like a South American writer, I think, long-listed last year for the Women's Prize. Bring it back to that for that, last year. So South America, and I don't know if the author was South America, but it was about South America, wasn't it? I'm fairly certain. Anyway,
what book are we talking about? I can't remember.
No, Some People Need Killing. No, Some People Need
the
Killing.
Philippines.
That was that set. I'm trying to think.
Oh yeah,
that was
Philippines.
Killing, I think.
Sorry.
Some people need killing.
Yeah. So In the comments, let us know if you've got what your answers are for either of those, whether it's what bookshop name you'd have, or if you think of any places that you'd like to get to your fiction, or your which continents you'd like to say. You can say that in the comments. Yes,
Good question.
Yes,
Yeah, it's a really good
was
question.
Yes, it was a very good question. So thank you to Ben and to Andy for that, and well done you guys for answering it. To wrap it up, I thought we would say about, I don't know if I did write a banner, but I don't know if I'm going to be able to find it. Oh, a second. I was going to say winner predictions, but I don't know. I can't find the banner, which is typical, isn't it? I can't find the banner. It's been deleted. So I'm just going to ask you guys anyway. What are your winner predictions for the Women's Prize for non-fiction? And what's your winning prediction for the Women's Prize for fiction this year? Because it's only literally going to be in a couple of weeks' time. A few weeks' time, isn't it?
Yeah, it's not long. Is it
drawn a
12?
blank about what the non-fiction shortlist is.
I'm just
I literally,
Googling it.
I've read them and I can't.
So
Have you done a video on this? Hang on.
Yeah, I've got the list.
Yeah, that's fine. We have. I've got it literally here in front of me.
The Story of a Heart.
Yeah, Story of a
Oh, that was
Heart.
gorgeous.
Yeah, we've got A Story of a Heart, Agent Zoe, and What the World Sea Can Be, Private Revolutions, 1,000 Threads, and obviously Raising Hair. So that's for the non-fiction. You guys can pick a winner for each for that. And actually, Jem, you can join in as well if you want. If you want.
I'll let the guests go first.
Yeah, so let the guests go first as well. Yes, of course. So who would like to go first? Sarah, what would be your winner? Not necessarily your winner, but what would you predict?
I predict for the non-fiction, I'm going to predict The Story of a Heart will win.
Yeah.
And for fiction, I don't know why, but I feel like it might be The Safe Keep, but I don't know why.
Ooh.
Interesting.
Yeah.
What about you, Bob?
So I think non-fiction. I think Story of a Heart too. It's also my personal favorite. But I also think it lands really well. It just is that really interesting non-fiction book. It kind of expands, I think, what non-fiction can sort of do.
Definitely, 100%.
I think who I think will win the Women's Prize for fiction, I think might be either All Fours or Elizabeth Strout. Is it Tell Me Everything?
Yeah.
Yes.
I think it'll be one of those two. But I think Safe Keep's a really good shout actually as well. I think that's a.
But what would your personal winner be then for the fiction?
I mean, probably the same. I don't know if I'm just picking the ones I really like. I also think Raising Hair has a really great shout for the women, just because again that's quite an interesting type of non-fiction. But yeah, I think All Fours is sort of divisive enough that if the judges have got it to this stage, there must be a lot of people who really like it. Yeah, and yeah, that or Elizabeth Strout. Yeah, I think.
Good answers. They are good answers.
I don't like it when they put books in series in there, though. I just think that's kind of annoying because then if you haven't started the series, you feel like you can't read it.
Yeah, there should be.
I feel like it should be a rule that if it's in a series, it's number one or it doesn't get to go on.
Yeah.
I agree with you. I actually do agree with you. I think that should be a rule. Jem, what are your picks for the winners of either the fiction or the non-fiction?
I'm going to be very unoriginal. I also think Story of a Heart for non-fiction, excellent book, like it deserves to win. Conversely, for fiction, I think it'll be All Fours because I detested it and I really don't want it to win. So hopefully, like I'll get one that I like. I quite often dislike the winner of the Women's Prize. Like,
okay,
it's quite common.
For me, I think for the non-fiction, I pretty much love all of them. Like apart from I got on slightly less with Private Revolutions, but I'd be happy if I'd be happy if any of them win. Really,
You have to pick one, Charlie.
I'll pick one. My favorite book of the year so far is Story of a Heart, so it has to be Story of a Heart. It's my favorite book of the year so far. I literally loved it. I just like you said, every single thing about it is just brilliant. It's so well woven, and like she doesn't deliberately try to be emotive, but she can't help. But then you can't help sobbing your heart out. And there's like these beautiful little moments interspersed with all this really interesting like information about the history of like transplants and then the history of surgery, the heart surgeries, and I just think it's amazing. I just think it's phenomenal book. And for in terms of the fiction, I haven't read a lot of it, as same as you, but I think from the day off first bit, I think All Fours is going to win, as same as you. But that's just, I just think it's because there's 2 judges already. I know at the beginning, before the prize even like began, that are massive Miranda July stands, and that's what we know. So chances are, you know.
And it's been nominated for so many awards as well, hasn't it? All Fours.
Yeah.
Like, it's clearly a book that judges like, and people less so, apart from Bob.
But Ben liked it as well. No, Ben liked it as well, and there's other people that have liked it as well. I think
not
Brian
really,
liked it, and Eric like it? I can't remember if Eric did like it.
I can't remember.
Not. No, I don't think he did like it as much.
I don't think he did.
No, he didn't. No. Yeah, let us know in the comments what your winners would be. We want to hear that as well for the fiction and for the non-fiction. I think we're going to be wrapping it up now, though. So I'll quickly flash on screen what you've just said here. And oh my gosh, I caught this. Elizabeth Strout. Just heard the name. Oh my God. Especially when Tell Me Everything is part of 3 different series.
Yes.
Yeah, that's a fair point.
Bob, I love Anne Tyler, but not Elizabeth Strout. I'm going to listen to Gemma, and I'm in her.
That's fair. If Anne Tyler's 3 Days in June was on this shortlist, that would be my personal favourite. I don't know if it's actually eligible. It might be eligible for next year's, I think. But 3 Days in June by Anne Tyler, I think, is incredible.
I think it was eligible for this year.
Oh, was it? Why was it not longlisted? Jeez, like this.
There's a lot of books that should have been longlisted and weren't.
Yeah,
let's be
because that
honest.
book is excellent.
We're going to see the international Booker announced soon, and if anyone's watching, needs to go over to Bob's channel soon because he's going to be doing a live show imminently.
From about 9:45. Yeah.
Yeah. Ish.
If you, I can maybe not promise it'll be turkeys.
What's your prediction for that?
For international Booker? I mean, in typical me fashion, I'm split between about 3 books, but I think Small Boat or On the Calculation of Volume will probably take it.
Do you? I want the Big Bird to win.
Oh, that was really fun. I really love the whole shortlist. That's the thing. So like it's.
Yeah, I haven't read them all.
I'm really happy.
But I loved Big Bird. It really surprised me in like all the best ways.
I do want to read it. Yeah. And also because you're Bob the Bookerer, what's your predictions for? Have you got any predictions for the long list for the?
No, I realized recently I need to do a video on that soon. But I actually, Anne Tyler, having just mentioned her, I think deserves a nod for it this year.
I just checked the publication date on that, Bob, and it was eligible for the Women's Prize, but I don't know if it was too short.
Oh yeah.
It says
the Booker then.
The Booker doesn't have a limit, does it? It can be as short as you like.
I think it's 40,000 words or something. It's quite forgiving.
Yeah,
like it's quite a low number compared to but I'd really love to see Anne Tyler make the Booker long list, particularly for this book, which I just think is beautiful. And what else? Sean Hewitt's book, I think that's gorgeous. I'd love to see that there.
Open Heaven.
Yeah, I mean, if it is, I am a Sean Hewitt fanboy, so I am biased in this, but I think it's a beautiful book.
I've got it on my Kindle to read. I can't wait to read it. And Sarah, have you got any predictions for the book or anything else, or for the winners? If you want,
I don't really read like much in the way of new releases, so I'm not the right person to ask. So yeah, I'm more of a backlist person.
That's okay. So thank you everybody for coming. I've just seen that Nicole's come along and said hello everyone. Good morning everyone. We are just saying goodbye now, but thank you very much for coming along, Nicole. We love you. Nicole was one of our previous guests. Yes. So we say goodbye then. Thank you everyone in the comments for coming to watch. Thank you for my luck to the lovely guests. We've got lovely Sarah from Your True Shelf and the wonderful Bob from Bob the Bookerer. Go and watch Bob's live stream imminently, like I said. And then thank you to my wonderful co-host, Jem from Gem of Books. So we will see you all soon. That's it. Goodbye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.